Hello, welcome to Garden Chronicles. I'm James David, and today I'm doing the part 3 of the nursery garden tour here in Ninso branch in Batu Caves. Stick around for a window shopping and a quick plant review on some of the interesting plants sold here. Here is a collection of all the cactus and succulents, which I find is quite interesting, which most of them are not actually found in most of the nursery here around this region. Aeonium, commonly known as dinner plate plants, is a type of succulent which is considered a cold hardy plant which require a freezing nights, which I find that it does very well in temperate region, however not so well in the tropical zones. I must say that there are a mixture of succulents sold here. Some are cold hardy and some are tropical friendly. So identifying which works best is very important, that you will save your heartaches when you don't see the plant dying in your garden. Most of the cold hardy plants are actually cultivated in the highlands areas, especially like Cameron Highland, and they can do very well in that kind of climate. However, it will not survive in long term in a lowland, hot and humid climate in the tropical zone. So do take note of that before purchasing any of the succulent plants, especially these types. I have found that there are many species of aloe veras that is being introduced here in this place, and I find that aloe vera seems to be a little bit more on a hardy side for our tropical region. So I do encourage you, if you're collecting aloe veras, this would be one of that nice addition. However, this is not the edible type. I believe this is more of a miniature ornamental type, so it's more for decorative rather than food purpose. However, do take note not to overwater any of the succulents here, as they can develop root rot. I must say that this particular one, known as Isoestophylum Cactus, which is quite rare and difficult to get, more on a high-end type of cactus plant, and I find that this particular one seems to be sold here in a lavish form, where the size is very much in a good size and the price is extremely affordable. I remember one time ago this was highly sought after and was actually a very expensive plant. Opuntia species, commonly known as bunny ears, at times known as a pack cactus, it's somehow I find that it is a little bit more on a cold hardy plant, which may not do so well in our kind of hot and dry climate, and I find that this particular plant seems to be falling apart, and this is the telltale signs where you will know the plant is not doing well in our kind of a hot and humid climate. I have seen a bigger version, and where the thorns appears to be more bigger and huge, and they are actually cultivated as an outdoor plant, but this particular one will not do so, as you will face root rot in the when you have too much of water intake. There is some contention here when it comes to this particular species, Portucaria, which is commonly known as elephant bush, similar to a jade plant, where I find the pink notes here, it may be actually induced coloring, and rather than appearing to become more of a natural variegated source. So there can be a question here, as when the plant grows bigger, these pink notes may disappear away. So there is a little bit of a decorative matter here rather than natural occurrence. However, I cannot put my finger in it and say whether this is true or not, so it's more of a gardener's decision to purchase it or not. This is Kellenkui, and this particular one appears to be in bloom. However, I noticed that I also have phase where the flowers only bloom when they receive freezing nights. So in a way, if you purchase them, take note that if your garden is very much of a hot and humid garden, you will only going to have a display of leaves, and the flowers may just fade away and may not occur again where if they do not receive the right condition. This particular plant is not a succulent. However, it's a very hardy plant, which I find that appearing to be more like a bonsai kind of miniature plant. Given the fact that most of the plants here appear to be in a small potted plant, you may be able to repot them and they will grow very well in a robust condition. Over here is another selection of plants. This appears to be more like a crown of thorns variegated species, where it's not so much focused on the flowers rather than a display of leaves and the structure of the plant. This will not do so well indoors as the variegation may change, so do take note that it may require a bright light. Coming back to another set of plants that I mentioned about cold hardy, this is Sempiverum, which I find that it's also known as chicken and hens, and I believe this is actually a native plant in the Alps, which may not do so well in the lowland tropical region. So doing a proper research on what to actually choose and get according to your garden condition will be a very big deal. I would consider this overemphasizing this, because I have gone through many experiences buying too many of these plants only to see them live for 2-3 months and they die away because of lack of freezing nights. Some succulents may have very similar features but are of two different species, so do check on it that there may be two types of plants that may have similar appearances. This is chicken and hens. It is a Sempiverum species which is from the Alps, and this particular one is Echeveria, which is actually from Africa regions, and is actually lowland climate hardy. So they may appear to look alike, but however they have two different planting needs, so identifying them is one of the plus points. However, I can also be wrong, as some people have managed to cultivate them in their garden. This particular one, however, is cold hardy. Very much similar to Aeonium, the dinner plate succulent, they may require freezing nights. I remember a friend of mine mentioning that she had tried using freezing cold water on them in the night to prolong their lifespan. So however, I find that it's too tedious to cultivate a garden as such manner. So if you are fancying such as those kinds, go for it and try your luck on your hands. Also take note that some Echeveria species such as this can be propagated using a leaf structure, and so I have tried growing them. Though they are very slow, they are still successful in creating new plantlets. This is a crown of thorns, which I find that it does have tiny spikes growing, thorny spikes growing underneath it. So do take note that some of them are cactus based plants, and if you are considering thorny plants not to be in your garden, do check on them carefully, as not all succulents are without thorns. This is a Hortia plant, similar like aloes, but more on a sensitive side. Also, this particular one, known as a Hurnia species, I find that this is able to handle in our lowland climate. So there you go. This is the collection of succulents and cacti sold here, as I want to give you some of the tips. Do find out where they are native from, and find out whether they are cold hardy or tropical hardy, because this actually determines the long lifespan of these plants in your garden. Other than that, on the basic care and maintenance, as most of the cacti and succulents, they do require bright indirect light, as they may not handle too direct hot sun, and in most cases keeping them in shaded areas where they do not get exposed to direct rainwater upon them, as it will actually protect their root ball. I now come to my conclusion of my video. If you have any questions, do put them in a comment below and I try my best to answer you. And if you can, please do click like and subscribe and support my channel. Thank you and have a nice day. Stay safe and happy gardening. Bye.